The shotgun blast echoed through the cornfields like God's own thunder. But it was just old Mrs. Eleanor Hargrove, firing blanks at the crows that dared peck at her prize-winning dahlias. William froze mid-prune, his shears hovering over a thorny stem, heart slamming against his ribs as if she'd aimed for him instead. "Boy," she rasped from her porch rocker, voice like gravel under truck tires, "if you let those bastards win, I'll haunt you from the grave. Now get back to work before I make good on that threat." William Hayes wiped the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand, the late July sun baking the soil into something resembling cracked pottery. At 28, he'd learned to move through the world like a shadow, quiet, efficient, never drawing eyes that might linger too long. Elmwood, Ohio, wasn't the kind of place that forgave differences, especially not ones whispered about in church basements and over backyard fences. He'd come here 5 years back, fleeing the suffocating grip of his family's Bible Belt expectations in rural Kentucky, where love the sinner, hate the sin was just code for get out before we burn you out. His truck, a rusty '98 Ford F-150 with more dents than paint, rattled to a stop outside the wrought iron gates of Hargrove Manor every Tuesday and Friday. Like clockwork, the estate sat on the edge of town, a sprawling Victorian relic from Elmwood's faded glory days, when steel mills hummed and the river ran thick with promise. Now, it was just weeds and memories, tended by hands like his, calloused, brown, and unapologetically gentle. Eleanor Hargrove was 87, sharp as a switchblade, and twice as likely to draw blood with words. She'd inherited the place from her husband, a steel baron who'd dropped dead of a heart attack in '72, leaving her with a fortune in rusting assets and a lifetime grudge against the world that forgot him. No kids. No kin worth a damn. Her nephew in Cleveland sent Christmas cards that screamed obligation. She hired William on a whim, after catching him clipping hedges at the local diner for tips. "You got eyes for color," she'd said, peering at him through Coke bottle glasses. "And balls enough not to flinch when I cuss. Start Monday." That was it. No interview, no references. Just a nod and a check that cleared the rent for 3 months. William parked under the ancient oak, its branches clawing at the sky like arthritic fingers. He grabbed his toolkit, pruners, gloves, a thermos of sweet tea Jordan had packed that morning, and trudged up the gravel path. The air hummed with cicadas, thick and syrupy, carrying the faint rot of the nearby Cuyahoga River. He just knelt by the rose arbor when Eleanor's voice cracked the stillness. "Hayes, you deaf or just ignoring an old lady's summons?" He straightened, dusting dirt from his jeans. There she was on the porch, shotgun propped like a walking stick, her silver hair pinned in a bird's nest of a bun. "Ma'am," he said, tipping his faded ball cap. "Just getting to the climbers. Thorns are vicious this year," she snorted, a sound like tires on loose stones. "Vicious like my nephew Clarence. Called yesterday, whining about estate planning, as if I'd let that blood-sucking lawyer of his near my deeds." She leveled the barrel skyward and fired another blank. Crack! Scattering invisible foes. William didn't flinch. Not anymore. By noon, they'd fallen into rhythm, him snipping, her watching from her rocker, doling out stories like hard candies. Eleanor spun tales of mill strikes and speakeasies, of jazz sneaking across the river from Cleveland dives, of a youth spent dancing with flappers while her daddy preached temperance from the pulpit. William listened, nodding, his own words sparse as rain in drought. He wasn't one for spilling guts, not to strangers. Anyway, But Eleanor had a way of prying, gentle as a thorn's prick. "You got that look, boy," she said once, as he wrestled a stubborn viburnum into shape. "Like you swallowed a secret and it's rotting you from the inside." He paused, clippers mid-air, the scent of crushed lavender rising sharp. "Just the heat, ma'am." "Bullshit." She leaned forward, eyes like chipped flint. "I seen plenty in my day. Men like you, hiding 'cause the world's got teeth. My brother was one back in the war, wrote letters from France about a fella named Tommy. Burned 'em all when he came home. Died miserable, pretending." William's throat tightened. He thought of Jordan then, those hazel eyes crinkling at the corners when he laughed, the way his fingers traced lazy circles on William's back in the dead of night. They'd met in a dive bar outside Akron, two souls adrift in a sea of straight-laced regret. Jordan, a mechanic with grease under his nails and dreams of opening his own shop, had bought him a beer and never looked back. 5 years, a cramped apartment above a laundromat, and a love that felt like stolen fire. "Some secrets keep you alive," William murmured, resuming his work. Eleanor cackled. "Alive ain't living, Hayes. Remember that." The weeks blurred into a fragile routine. William pruned, weeded, coaxed life from Eleanor's neglected plots, turning the yard into a riot of color that drew neighbors' stares and whispers. "That colored boy's got the green thumb of the devil," one biddy muttered at the Piggly Wiggly. William overheard. Always did, but he kept his head down, cashed his checks, and drove home to Jordan's waiting arms. Home was a second-floor walk-up on Elm Street, walls thin as promises, the hum of washers below a constant lullaby. Jordan was in the kitchen that evening, sleeves rolled up, stirring gumbo in a pot that bubbled like a witch's brew. 30. He was all lean muscle and easy grace, his dark hair tousled from a day under hoods. "How's the witch today?" he asked, ladling stew into bowls. William shrugged off his flannel, the ache in his shoulders melting under Jordan's gaze. "Fired blanks at ghosts again. Told me about her brother, Gay, back in the day. Kept it buried." Jordan's spoon paused. "Like you." "Nah." William pulled him close, burying his face in the crook of Jordan's neck, inhaling motor oil and bay leaf. "I got you." That's louder than any secret. They ate on the fire escape, legs tangled, the city lights flickering like distant stars. Jordan talked shop, some hotshot from Detroit eyeing his designs for custom bikes, and William let the words wash over him, a balm against the day's grit. Later, in bed, with sheets twisted and breaths mingling, Jordan whispered, "Marry me, Will. For real. Vegas. One of those chapels with the Elvis impersonator." William laughed, soft and broken. "Obergefell says we can, but Elmwood? They tar and feather us before the ink dried. Then we run farther. California. Anywhere but here." Sleep came slow, dreams tangled with roses and river mud. Fall crept in on crisp winds, turning leaves to fire. Eleanor's health faltered, a cough that rattled like loose change, stepped slower on the porch. William found her one Tuesday slumped in her rocker, a quilt slipping from her lap. "Clarence," she wheezed when he helped her inside. "That vulture's circling. Wants the house for condos. Over my dead body." He brewed tea, strong as tar, and sat with her by the hearth. The fire popped, casting shadows that danced like accusations. "You got family, Hayes?" she asked, voice thin. Some. Not close. He thought of his mama's last letter. Pray on it, son. The Lord don't make mistakes. Burned it unread. Lucky you. She gripped his hand. Skin paper thin. Mine's poison. Clarence's daddy, my sister's boy, ran off with the mill payroll in '68. Left her to drown in gin. Clarence blames me. Says I drove him off with my high and mightiness. Truth is, boy troubles. Always did. William squeezed back. You ain't poison, ma'am. You're fertilizer. Make things grow. She chuckled, a wheeze escaping. Flatterer. Listen, tomorrow, the lawyer's coming. Witnesses needed. You be here. 8 sharp. He nodded, unease coiling in his gut like bindweed. The next morning dawned gray, rain pattering the tin roof like impatient fingers. William arrived early, toolkit forgotten, nerves jangling. Eleanor was dressed sharp, pearl brooch, lace collar, like she was heading to a funeral. Her lawyer, Mr. Pritchard, was a weasel of a man in pinstripes, briefcase clutched like a shield. 2 neighbors, Mrs. Delaney from next door and the postman, Earl, sat stiff on the settee, eyeing William like he'd tracked mud on the rug. Simple affair, Pritchard droned, spectacles slipping. Last will and testament. Mrs. Hargrove, you of sound mind. Sound as a coonhound's bay, she snapped. Papers rustled, pens scratched. William stood by the window, rain-streaking glass, feeling like an intruder. When Pritchard reached the bequests, silver to the church, stocks to the library, Eleanor's voice cut in, steel-edged. And to William Hayes, my gardener, the bulk of my estate, the manor, the grounds, and all appurtenances therein. For services rendered, and heart given free, the room froze. Mrs. Delaney gasped, hand to throat. Earl's pipe clattered to the saucer. Pritchard blinked, ink blotting the page. William's world tilted me, a roar in his ears like the river in flood. Ma'am, he started, but she waved him silent, eyes fierce. You heard it. Earned it, boy. Now get back to those damn roses before they choke the trellis. He stumbled out into the downpour, soaked to the bone, the will's weight heavier than any storm. That night, Jordan found him on the fire escape, staring at the wet city like it held answers. Will, talk to me. Words tumbled out, Eleanor, the lawyer, the impossible gift. Jordan's face shifted from joy to dread, arms wrapping tight. Holy shit. That's everything. But her family, they'll fight it. William nodded, chin on Jordan's shoulder. Yeah. And Elmwood? They'll say I charmed a crazy old bat. Slept my way to the deed. Jordan pulled back, eyes searching. Did you? A beat? Then laughter, raw, releasing. Hell no. Just pruned her bullshit. They made love fierce that night, reclaiming what the world denied. Bodies entwined, promises sealed in sweat and sighs. But dawn brought the first vulture's call. Clarence Hargrove, phoning from Cleveland, voice slick as oil. Aunt Ellie out of her mind? We'll see about that. The fight was on. Clarence Hargrove descended on Elmwood like a nor'easter, all bluster and Brooks Brothers suits, his Cadillac gleaming obnoxiously in the manor's drive. It was mid-October now, the air crisp with the promise of frost, pumpkins rotting on porches like forgotten dreams. William had just finished mulching the asters when the car pulled up, gravel crunching under tires that cost more than his truck. Mr. Hayes. Clarence stepped out, mid-40s, paunch straining his belt, a smile like a used car salesman's pitch. Behind him, a woman, his wife, presumably, clutched a purse like a life raft, her peroxide hair unmoving in the wind. William straightened, wiping earth from his palms. That's me, Clarence Hargrove, Eleanor's nephew. He extended a hand, grip limp and calculating. Heard about the arrangements. Tragic, really. Auntie's always been eccentric, but this, outrageous. The word hung, barbed. William met his gaze, steady. She was lucid. Lawyer witnessed. Clarence chuckled, a sound like breaking glass. Lucid? With that cough? Dementia sets in quiet. Son. We're contesting. For the family's sake. Family. The word soured in William's mouth. He'd seen the photos in Eleanor's parlor. Faded tintypes of stern faces. None smiling. Clarence's visits were annual obligations. Photo ops for his real estate firm. Now, with the will's ink barely dry, he swooped like a hawk on roadkill. Mrs. Hargrove Lorraine tittered nervously. We just want what's right. The house should stay in blood. William's jaw tightened. Blood. As if his veins ran thinner. Appreciate the concern. But it's her wish. Clarence's smile thinned. We'll see. Court's involved now. Might want to lawyer up yourself. He tossed a card, Hargrove and Associates, and sauntered inside, Lorraine trailing like a shadow. William watched them go, fists clenched until knuckles ached. He texted Jordan. Vultures landed. Need you. By evening, the town buzzed. Whispers at the diner. That boy's a con. Mark my words. Heard he's one of those, with the other gardeners. William picked up his gumbo to go. Head high. But the stairs burned. Home. Jordan paced the kitchen, card in hand. Bastard's firm? Conflicts of interest up the wazoo. We fight dirty if we have to. William sank into a chair, exhaustion pooling. It's not just the house, Jay. It's her trust. Like I ain't worth spit without a handout. Jordan knelt, hands on knees, eyes fierce. You worth everything. To me. To her. He kissed William then, slow and grounding, tasting of coffee and resolve. We'll get through. Like always. But the storm gathered. Clarence filed papers that week. Undue influence. Incapacity, dragging Eleanor's name through mud. The Elmwood Gazette ran a front-page sob story. Hargrove Air Battle's mystery benefactor, 4-family legacy. No names, but everyone knew. William became the villain overnight, the outsider poaching an old lady's nest egg. Eleanor's cough worsened. She took to bed, the manor echoing with her rasps. William visited daily now, not as gardener but companion, reading aloud from dog-eared Steinbecks while she dozed. Don't let that weasel win, she'd murmur, fingers twisting the quilt. This place is for dreamers, Hayes, not developers. One afternoon, as rain lashed the windows, she pressed a key into his palm, heavy, ornate, to the attic trunk. Letters. Tommy's. Burn 'em if I go first. Or don't. Your call. He pocketed it, throat tight. You ain't going nowhere, ma'am. Her laugh was a ghost. We all do. Boy. Make it count. That night, alone in the attic, dust motes dancing in flashlight beam, William pried the trunk. Faded envelopes, tied with twine, spilled secrets. My dearest Ellie, Tommy's laugh lights the trenches like stars. Pages of longing, censored love from a world at war. Eleanor's brother, hidden in plain sight, his heart a casualty long before the bullets. William sat amid the relics, tears carving tracks in dust. How many graves unmarked, how many loves buried like seeds in winter soil. Jordan found him there at midnight, curled among the papers. Will? Jesus. What? Her brother's story. William handed over a letter, voice raw. Like ours. Hidden. Jordan read, face paling. Fuck. She saw you, the real you, and gave you what he never had. Freedom. They burned nothing that night. Instead, they carried the letters home, a talisman against the fray. Court dates loomed. Pritchard recommended a firm in Akron, pro bono for causes like yours, but William balked. Money he didn't have, eyes on him like spotlights. Clarence's team painted him as predator, young man of questionable morals, preying on vulnerable elder. Depositions dragged. Neighbors testifying to Eleanor's episodes, the cough as proof of madness. William took the stand in November, the county courthouse a tomb of polished wood and judgment. Clarence's lawyer, a shark named Voss, circled. Mr. Hayes, isn't it true you were dismissed from prior employment for inappropriate conduct? The gallery murmured. William's pulse thundered. Inappropriate? I was fired for holding my partner's hand at the company picnic. That inappropriate enough? Gasps rippled. Voss faltered, but pressed. And Mrs. Hargrove, did she know of your lifestyle? Lifestyle? William leaned forward, voice steady as Ohio clay. I love a man named Jordan. Same as she loved stories of men who loved men. She knew. Didn't care. Said it made me kind. The judge, a stern woman with silver streaks, banged her gavel. Counsel. Relevance. But the seed was planted. Whispers shifted. Not just greed, but gay greed. Elmwood's underbelly roiled. Pickups circling their apartment. Slurs keyed into the truck's door. Jordan insisted on staying. We face it together. Or not at all. One night, after a brick through the window, faggot thief scrawled in red, William broke. In their bed, body slick, he clung to Jordan like a lifeline. What if we lose? Run back to Kentucky? Or worse, lose you to this hate? Jordan's breath hitched. Never lose me. You're my North Star. Will. Always. But betrayal brewed closer. Pritchard called mid-December. Leak in the firm. Clarence got wind of the letters. He's subpoenaing them, claiming forgery. Emotional manipulation. William's blood iced. The attic, Eleanor's sanctum, now a battlefield. He raced to the manor, finding Clarence's crew rifling drawers under discovery pretense. Lorraine hovered, guilty-eyed. Just following orders. Dear. In the chaos, a letter fluttered free Tommy's. Ink faded. Clarence snatched it, eyes gleaming. This? Proof she's cracked. War stories and fairy tales. Fury ignited. William lunged, fist connecting with jaw crack. Clarence sprawling. Those ain't tales. They're her heart. You son of a... Sheriff hauled him off, cuffs cold. Jordan bailed him out at dawn, face thunderous. Assault charge. This tips the scales. Eleanor, bedridden, summoned him that Christmas Eve. Snow-blanketed Elmwood, muffling the world. She looked skeletal, but eyes burned. Heard about the punch. Good form. Boy, cough racked her. Listen, Will's ironclad. But if, when I go, fight for the garden, for you and that mechanic of yours. He took her hand. Why me, ma'am? Truly, because you remind me of Tommy. Quiet strength. And because this town needs shaking. Give him hell. She slipped away at midnight, monitors flatlining in the ambulance. The wake was a circus, Clarence front and center, crocodile tears. William stood apart, Jordan's hand secret in his pocket, the letters burning a hole in his coat. Funeral rain soaked the plot. As dirt hit coffin, Clarence sidled close. Game over. His house is mine. William met his gaze, Eleanor's key heavy in his palm. We'll see. January in Elmwood was a frozen hell. Wind howling off Lake Erie like banshees mourning the dead. The courthouse loomed, a squat brick fortress against the drifts, where Clarence's war machine revved full throttle. William and Jordan scraped by on odd jobs, him trimming Christmas lights for the wealthy set, Jordan wrenching doubles at the garage, while lawyers bled them dry. The assault charge hung like a noose, plea bargained to community service. But the damage festered, thug gardener attacks grieving kin. Nights blurred into fortresses of flesh. Jordan would come home reeking of solvent, pull William from the couch where he pored over case files, and they'd lose themselves in the dark. Kisses desperate, hands mapping scars both seen and unseen. I hate this, Jordan growled once, teeth grazing collarbone. Hate watching you shrink. I'm not shrinking, William lied, arching into touch. Just bracing, but he was. Mirrors showed hollow cheeks, eyes shadowed like storm clouds. The letters, those fragile testaments, sat in a lockbox at the bank. Voss's subpoena a guillotine waiting. Clarence's narrative solidified. Eleanor, addled by age and isolation, bewitched by a smooth-talking opportunist with deviant tendencies. The town turned feral. Groceries left unpaid at the register. Cash only for your kind. Tail lights in the rear view. Deliberate slow rolls past their stoop. Jordan's boss called him in. Heard about the boyfriend. Don't let it spill here, kid. Jordan quit on principle. Pride a luxury they couldn't afford. Eleanor's manor stood shuttered, a ghost under snow, his gardens slumbering like secrets. William snuck in weakly, key turning with a click that echoed betrayal. He'd sweep drifts from paths, whisper to dormant bulbs, wake up. Fight. One blizzard night, he found the attic ransacked, trunk splintered, letters gone. Clarence's doing, no doubt. Panic clawed. Those pages were Eleanor's soul, Tommy's echo. He confronted Lorraine at the diner, corner booth, her coffee untouched. The letters, where? She flinched, pearls twisting. Clarence burned them. Said they proved instability. Fantasies. He called M. Fantasies. William's vision blurred red. They were real. Lives. Like yours could have been, if you'd grown a spine. She teared up, voice small. He controls everything. The money, the house in Cleveland. If I cross, pity, he stormed out, snow stinging like accusations. The trial proper kicked off Valentine's Day, irony thick as heart-shaped candy. The gallery packed, farmers in Carhartts, church ladies with Bibles, Clarence's cronies smirking. Judge Harlan, a relic with a mustache like walrus ivory, presided, his rulings tilting toward legacy. Voss opened with venom. Mrs. Hargrove, isolated and ill, fell under Mr. Hayes' spell, a man with a history of moral lapses, now poised to profit from her delusion. Exhibits flashed. Medical notes on her cough, ignored. The lucid psyche val. Blurry photos of William and Jordan at a pride float in Akron, stolen from social media, twisted as lifestyle evidence. William's turn came midweek, Stan swallowing him whole. Voss pounced. You deny influencing her? Cozy chats. Shared secrets. All while eyeing the deed. Eyeing. William's voice cracked, then steadied. I eyed her happiness. She was lonely, sir. Talked of her brother. Wars. Love's lost. I listened. Pruned her roses. That's influence. Snickers from the back. Voss smirked. And this love, your unnatural union with Mr. Ellis? Did you flaunt it? Hoping sympathy. The word unnatural landed like a slap. William's hands trembled on the rail. Love's love. Jordan's my rock. Eleanor's too saw that. Gave me a chance this town never would. Objection. Pritchard leaped, but Harlan overruled. Eyes narrowing. Recess brought Jordan to the hall, crushing him in a hug that smelled of cheap cologne and fear. You're killing it. Proud as hell. William clung, whispering, what if we lose everything? You, me, us. Then we rebuild. Naked and broke. But us. Clarence's testimony was theater. Choked sobs over Auntie's decline, tales of childhood Christmases, lies. Eleanor despised holidays. Lorraine corroborated, voice quavering. She rambled. Clarence. About boys in trenches. Unsettling. The letter's absence gutted them. Pritchard argued forgery risk, but without proof. It rang hollow. Voss paraded experts. A shrink claiming senility. A handwriting analyst deeming notes suspect. Then, the twist. Lorraine, cracking under cross. Clarence said burn them, but I saved one. Tucked in my Bible. Gasps echoed as she produced it. Tommy's final missive. Ink smudged but legible. Ellie, if I don't come home, tell no one of us. But live free for both. Chaos. Voss objected furiously. Harlan admitted it. Face thunderous. Clarence blanched, whispering frantic to counsel. Pritchard pounced in closing. This isn't about greed or deviance. It's about a woman choosing legacy over blood, kindness over cruelty. William Hayes didn't steal, he was given. Voss countered. A manipulated gift, tainted by fantasy. Deliberation stretched 2 days. Elmwood holding breath. William and Jordan holed up in the apartment. Radio low on classic soul Otis Redding crooning loss. They cooked spaghetti, cheap wine flowing, pretending normalcy. In the candlelight, Jordan traced William's jaw. Remember our first date? That dive. You spilling beer on my lap. William grinned. Faint. Thought you'd deck me. Nah. Knew then, you were home. They made love slow, reverent, bodies a rebellion against the cold. Afterward, tangled in sheets, Jordan murmured, "Whatever happens, we're eloping." Courthouse. Rings. The works. Dawn brought the call verdict at noon. The courtroom sweltered despite February chill, air thick with sweat and suspense. Harlan cleared his throat. After careful review, the court upholds the will in full. Costs to contestant. Cheers from Pritchard's corner. Clarence's face purpled, storming out with a curse. Lorraine lingered, eyes on William, apology unspoken. Outside, snow swirled. Jordan hooped, lifting William in a spin. "We won. Holy shit. We won." But victory tasted bittersweet. The manor was theirs, but scars ran deep, trust fractured, town poisoned. As they drove home, radio blaring triumph, William glanced back at the receding courthouse. Freedom, Eleanor had said. But at what cost? Clarence appealed that week, stalling the handover. Lorraine vanished, rumors of divorce, a quiet flight to Florida. The letters? Pritchard secured them under seal. Tommy's voice a silent witness. Spring teased early, crocuses pushing through frost. William returned to the manor, toolkit in hand, Jordan trailing with takeout. They wandered the gardens. Now there's planning, community plots for queer kids, art classes in the parlor, a life reclaimed. But shadows lingered. One evening, as they painted the porch, Jordan's brush strokes bold blues, tires crunched gravel. Clarence, uninvited, stepped out, gaunt, eyes hollow. Truce? For Auntie's sake. William tensed, paint dripping. What you want? The letters. Full set. I'll drop the appeal. Jordan bristled. Blackmail now. Clarence deflated. No. Closure. Read one last night, Tommy's. My great-uncle explains things. Dad's coldness. Ma's drinking. A tear tracked. I was wrong. Burned most. But sorry, don't fix that. William studied him. Man, not monster. Keep what you saved. Appeal dies tomorrow. A nod. Handshake. Tentative bridge. Clarence drove off, taillights fading into dusk. That night, under stars pricking the sky, William and Jordan sat on the fresh-painted porch, beers clinking. Think he means it? Jordan asked. Dunno. But Eleanor's watching. She'd approve. Laughter bubbled. Free. For the first time in months, hope bloomed, tender, thorny, alive. Summer scorched Elmwood that year, heat waves rippling off asphalt like bad omens. But the manor gardens flourished under William's care, a defiant Eden amid the dust. With the appeal quashed, keys exchanged in a notary's sterile office, they moved in June. Boxes of mismatched dishes, Jordan's tool chest, a queen bed that creaked under their weight. No fanfare, just them, unpacking ghosts alongside socks. The house breathed history. Parquet floors scarred by dances long past, wallpaper peeling like old skin. Upstairs, Eleanor's room became a study, desk piled with plans for the Hargrove Haven, their vision of workshops and safe spaces. William sketched plots for veggie beds. Jordan mocked up bike racks for community events. We'll call it Queer Valhalla, Jordan joked, sketching a rainbow arch. No pitchforks allowed, but integration was jagged. Town folk gawked at the moving truck, whispers evolving from venom to wary curiosity. The Gazette ran a neutral piece. Local gardener inherits iconic estate. Omitting the drama, but Clarence's name in the credits, anonymous donor for legal fees, hinted at mending. William threw himself into soil, therapy of the earth. Dawn patrols, weeding, watering, coaxing delphiniums to spike blue against the sky. Jordan joined weekends, hands dirty, banter flowing. You and dirt, kinky as hell, he'd tease, smearing mud on William's cheek. One July 4th, they hosted a barbecue, small, risky. Pritchard and wife, a few Akron allies. Lorraine via video from Miami, divorce finalized. Good luck, boys. Burgers sizzled. Flags popped in the yard, but eyes darted to shadows, expecting bricks or worse. No trouble came. Instead, kids from the trailer park wandered over, drawn by the smell. "Mister, you got fireworks?" a gap-toothed boy asked. William grinned, handing sparklers. "Light 'em careful." Magic's in the spark. As dusk fell, explosions lit the sky, reds, golds, booms echoing Eleanor's shotgun blasts. Jordan pulled him aside, under the oak. "This us. Here. It's real." William kissed him, fireworks bursting overhead. "Yeah. Our boom." Romance deepened in stolen pockets. Picnics by the river, where Jordan read poetry, Whitman, fierce and queer, voice rumbling over water. "Pioneers, oh pioneers," he'd declaim, then tackle William into grass, laughter turning to heat. They explored the attic anew, finding Eleanor's hidden cache, jazz records, a locket with Tommy's photo, faded sepia smile. "Our patron saints," Jordan said, hanging it by the bed. But conflict simmered. Elmwood's old guard resisted the haven. Petitions at town hall, preserve heritage, not agenda. Council meetings turned circuses. Clarence, reformed, speaking haltingly, Aunt Ellie wanted growth. "Let it," William testified, voice steady. "This ain't takeover. It's tending what's broken." Gardens, hearts, same difference. Votes teetered, but passed narrow, grudging. Groundbreaking in August. Shovels biting earth. Rainbow flags fluttering beside American ones. Donors trickled, queer orgs from Cleveland. A grant from XAI's community fund. Ironic. Tech in Rust Belt. Betrayal struck subtle. From within. Jordan's old boss, salty mechanic named Buck, offered partnership. "Bury the hatchet, kid. Shop's yours half." But strings attached, distance from the politics at the manor. Jordan wrestled, nights pacing. "It's security. For us." William saw the fracture. "Or a cage. Choose. Jay." Pride won. "Screw it. We build our own." They did. Hargrove Motors in the carriage house. Custom choppers with floral accents. First client. A trans kid from Toledo. Bike painted roses for new roots. Fall painted the grounds gold. Harvest moon fat. Eleanor would have loved the Haven's inaugural. Poetry slam in the parlor. Bikes gleaming outside. William emceed. Nerves electric. Jordan's wink from the crowd grounding. Then, the letter, postmarked Cleveland. Clarence's scrawl. Found more. Basement safe. Tommy's ring. For you. Intrigued, they drove up. Manor keys traded for urban anonymity. Clarence waited in a coffee shop. Thinner, eyes clearer. Therapy, he admitted over lattes. Unpacked the hate. Dad's ghost. Mostly. The ring, gold band. Engraved T&J forever. Jordan slipped it on William's finger. Impromptu vow. Fits. Clarence nodded. Throat working. Auntie'd say sappy. But thanks. For not hating back. Forgiveness ain't free, William said. But it's growth. Back home. Ring glinting. They danced in the kitchen. Slow. To Coltrane on vinyl. Jordan's hands roamed. Whisper hot. Marry me. Here. Nowish. William's heart stuttered. Elmwood. Our Elmwood. They planned small. Backyard. Under the arbor. Rose's witnesses. Invites went out. 50 souls. Brave mix. But whispers stirred. Vandals hit the Haven pre-wedding. Signs slashed. Sodom spray-painted on the gate. William surveyed damage at dawn. Rage simmering. Who? Jordan's jaw set. Buck's crew. Jealous. Confrontation at the garage. Buck. Burly and boozy. Just a message. Ellis. Town's limits. Jordan's fist flew. Echo of William's punch. Buck crumpling. Message received. We're the limit now. Cops called. But no charges, witnesses scarce. Wedding barreled on. Defiant. October 15th. Leaves crunching underfoot. 50 gathered. Pritchard toasting. Lorraine beaming via screen. Clarence awkward but present. Jordan in a vest that hugged his frame. William in flannel crisp as new earth. Vows under arbor. In thorns and blooms. I choose you. Rings exchanged, Tommy's and a matching silver. Kiss sealed with cheers. Rain holding off just long enough. Reception spilled into dusk, barbecue. Blues band. Kids sparklers anew. But as stars wheeled, a shadow crossed. William's mama, uninvited, at the gate. Dressed plain, Bible clutched. Sun, air thickened. Jordan tensed beside him. Mama, read your letter. The wedding, her eyes, his eyes, flicked to Jordan, softening fraction. Heard about the house. The fight. Proud. Maybe. If pride's allowed. William's chest cracked open. It is. She stayed an hour, small talk. Gumbo sampled, then hugged fierce. Prayers changed. For real. Drove off into night. A bridge half built. Alone later. In the big bed. Jordan traced the ring. Full circle. Nah. New spiral. William pulled him close. Bodies aligning like roots entwining. Love. Post-battle. Was sweeter scarred. Resilient. Winter whispered in. First snow dusting the roses. Haven thrived. Art classes for runaways. Bike repairs for dreamers. William taught gardening, patience. Sun, dirt don't judge. Jordan welded frames. Stories shared over sparks. One eve. Attic cleared. They found Eleanor's journal, final entry. Haze will bloom. Tell him, love's the best fertilizer. William read aloud. Jordan's head on his shoulder. Tears fell, but smiles followed. She knew, in Elmwood's heart, once hostile, they carved space human, flawed, blooming. By spring 2026, Hargrove Haven pulsed with life, a heartbeat against Elmwood's staid rhythm. The gardens exploded, tulips nodding like conspirators, arbors heavy with honeysuckle's siren call. William, 30 now, moved through it all with a quiet authority. his skin bronzed deeper by sun, ring catching light like a vow renewed. Jordan's choppers turned heads, custom jobs with etched pedals, ridden by folks who'd found their road. The betrayal's echo faded, but scars lingered, trust cautious. Nights when old fears surfaced in dreams, cuffs clicking, whispers slithering. They'd therapy now, bi-weekly in Akron, raw talks of Kentucky ghosts, garage grudges. Healing's weeding, William quipped once, Jordan's laugh a salve. Clarence visited monthly, awkward uncle to their makeshift family. He'd sold his firm, funneled proceeds to Haven scholarships, Tommy's fund. Lorraine sent citrus from Florida, recipes scrawled, 4 boys who need sweetening. William's mama came quarterly, Bible swapped for pie tins, her hugs loosening knots. God's got rainbows too, she'd say, eyes twinkling. But climax brewed slow, in summer's heat. A developer, slick outsider from Columbus, eyed adjacent lots, proposing revitalization, condos edging the river, swallowing community plots. Town council wavered, dollars dazzling. Progress, the mayor cooed at meetings. William rallied, petitions, barbecues turned strategy sessions. This ain't just land, he argued, voice carrying like Eleanor's rasp. It's roots. For kids like I was scared, hiding, Jordan backed him, bikes auctioned for legal war chests. Clarence testified, learned late, legacy's people, not pavement. Opposition snarled, buck silk, foaming at woke invasion. Threats resurfaced, tires slashed, calls anonymous, burn it like Sodom. One night, flames licked the carriage house, arson, quick quenched by neighbors' hoses. Fire chief ruled accident, all knew better. William cracked then, in the ER waiting, Jordan bandaged, lungs clear but eyes haunted. Can't keep fighting. What if we lose it all? Jordan gripped his hand, for beeping. Then we plant elsewhere. But here, our dirt. Fight. The hearing packed the hall, standing room, air electric. Developer pitched glossy renders, towers gleaming. William countered, slides of Haven kids, a trans teen welding her first frame, a foster boy harvesting carrots. This is America, dreams in the ground. Don't pave him over. Climax peaked when Lorraine flew in, unannounced. Pearls swapped for protest sign, save our soil. Her testimony shattered. Lost my home to greed once. Won't watch it again. Clarence followed. Voice breaking. Aunt Eleanor's will? Not just house. Revolution. Votes cast in hush, nay to condos. Cheers erupting. Hugs cascaded. Jordan lifted William. Spin dizzying. We did it. Aftermath. Developer slunk away. Haven expanded, riverfront plots secured. They celebrated Riverside. Bonfire crackling. Stories swapped. Mama danced with Clarence, awkward two-step while kids' sparklers arced. Fall brought harvest festival. Booths of pies. Bikes on display. Poetry under oaks. William and Jordan renewed vows, impromptu. Crowd witnesses. Through thorns, Jordan said. Ring refit. To blooms. Winter settled gentle. Snow blanketing like forgiveness. One eve. Attic journal open. William added entry. Eleanor, it's growing. Thanks to you. Jordan found him there. Arms wrapping. Miss her. Every day. But she's here. He tapped chest. Then Jordan's. Love. Matured. Was quiet fire. Mornings tangled, coffee shared, evenings planning, maybe kids, fostering queer youth. Elmwood softened, edges rounded by time and tending. Yet humanism's core, not perfection, but persistence. They mentored Buck's nephew, a scared teen with grease-stained dreams, showing grace to the graceless. Clarence proposed memorial. Tommy's bench by the roses. Plaque. For love's unspoken. Now loud. Unveiling in spring, crowd diverse. Tears mingling with petals. William spoke. Eleanor saw us, broken, beautiful. Gave us ground to stand. Let's keep standing. As sun dipped, Jordan pulled him to the riverbank. Water murmuring secrets. Happy, William leaned in, kissed salt sweet. Growing. With you, in America's heartland, amid rust and renewal, two men built not just a garden, but a legacy thorny, tender, eternally green. Eleanor's shotgun echoed in every bloom. Get back to work. Make it count.